Hi there viewers and YouTubers, today is June the 22nd. Welcome to this current reading of Earth Predictions. This reading is going to go through until about July the 4th or 5th because I'm going to be away myself and won't be able to make another one for that duration. So this is a longer reading, and initially I hadn't taken that into consideration with some of the cards that had came into play, but we'll talk about that later as we go on. Just a quick overview of last week's cards. We had, some of them were the beast. We talk about fires or volcanoes or animal related issues with that. There was a mass fish die-off, there were large Colorado fires, and there were some larger than usual volcanic eruptions. In the cycle card I suggested that there may have been quite a few sea related quakes, and I think to date I'd posted 7 annotations on the video that were related to sea quakes as opposed to land quakes for the duration of that reading. With the mother card I saw many issues come out regards children, sadly, children who have been in stressful situations or negative issues that arose with them. It seemed a week of every time you would check the news there would be something more about children again, or especially sexually related abuse issues globally, and lots of feminine related issues to do with perhaps cultures where women aren't treated in the same manner as men. So there were lots of that going on around the globe, and there were lots of marches, and there was so many to mention. Again, there were about 50 annotations added to last week's video. It's probably worth going back to have a look and check that out if you're at all interested. And likewise for this week there will be annotations added during the process of the reading, although as I say I won't be quite as available to do so because I won't be that close to the computer. So going to this week's first card out, well, look who we have back again. Our troublesome friend, or foe rather, the warrior. He's not going away. And isn't it interesting, there's 40 cards in the deck and they're well shuffled, and it's not as if I sit there and pick them out. They seem to just want to keep coming out. And he's returning constantly, the warrior, so it shows us that we are in very agitated energy with people around the globe, with fractional situations, with political situations, with religious tensions. It just doesn't seem to be stopping, and I'm sure most of you can see for yourselves when you read the news, we just are growing more and more full of angst and agitated energy. If it's not one thing, it's another. There's massive bombings up through around the Middle East areas and up through Syria. There's the political tension that's going on. There's many countries that are going through re-election processes, some of which are not an easy issue for them. There is huge financial crisis going on through many countries around the world. It seems that we are perpetually on edge, which is not where we're meant to be as a humanity, nor is it meant to be where our planet is. So this is a very trying period for the whole globe and for people. But remember that from hardships you turn and you learn growth, and you come out of it and you move forward, and eventually that is where we are headed. So part of getting to a better place, you work through the hardships first. So that warrior, he shows us the military action possibly. He shows us much through that Middle Eastern area, up through the older part of the globe, the empirical age, up through, we talk again about the landmass, the older buildings. Last time he appeared we had quite a few earthquakes up through the Italy region. I'm wondering if that might show again for the period of this reading. We get this strange unknown energy force rushing through here and down through the tented area. Each card can have many different perspective energies involved in it. It's not just as simple as looking at the card and saying I think it means this one incident. And because we're talking these cards referring to them globally and for such a long period of time, each card can relate to many differing situations that can occur on the earth and within people as well. The last time the warrior was around, and we see this energy in the middle of the card, there were 2 big fires in Qatar where people were killed. So I'm unsure if that swirling energy means water-related energy, or quake movement, or fire, or dust storms, or mudslides. It is some forceful energy that is quick and sudden and can create a loss of life with it. So that warrior card, when he comes out, be prepared. It's going to be a week of action and activity and argy-bargy. The next card that came was the No card. We've talked about that before, how we feel. I always say it means, whoa, hold on to your hats. We're coming in for something quick and fast and you ain't going to like it too much. So he was the next card out. The following card was the Death card. Again, you would say, what can I say that's particularly nice about that? I don't know that I can say a lot, except to not worry about physical death. Yes, obviously for humans here that is an issue, but we have many other forms of death. We have the death of movements that hold us in and subjugate us and keep us locked down. This is all coming to the fore now in humanity. We're losing and changing so many things. We're dropping off a lot of things that we no longer need, that don't serve us, that are of no purpose to us. So we're seeing, look at all through Europe, the number of countries that are going for re-elections at the moment. They're going through massive change, and you can view that as a death of old systems. It may hopefully move forward with freedom for people, make changes. There will be political changes, financial changes, religious changes, feminine perspective changes. We're all growing with that. So the card obviously again can have more than one connotation to it. It can be physical death. There could be physical deaths related on the planet to specific incidents that could be going to occur during this reading, and there could also be spiritual or metaphysical type related deaths as well. I see the poppies in the front of this hill and this tombstone looking thing. There is a shining light in the background. It will mean that there will be deaths around, and it could be a large issue that takes a certain number of people at one time. There is, the next card was the Yes card. Again, it's saying yes, something is going to happen. That's pretty pointed. There is going to be some related big issue coming in during the reading. It was a week of strange cards. We had the yes, we have the no. We've got some contradictions going on in this reading. So we're feeling like almost as if you're going in one direction and then it suddenly stops and turns. So as if there's going to be a change in something that's taking place, and an unexpected change, like you're heading down a road and suddenly everyone goes, no, stop, that's not the right thing to do, we'll do turn about. So there's energies of contradiction and not sure if they're going in the right direction. The next card that came out was the Sun card. I usually say this, I get the feeling of it relating to the sun and solar activity, and I think the last time I looked, which was a few days ago, the sun was moving around into a period of relatively low sunspot activity. I'm not sure what that actually means. We've been having quite a lot of sunspot activity within the last few weeks, so we're going into more of a limbo period. But the card, I always have felt, denoted solar activity. And I have also noted on this card in particular, we have the maypole again, and we see lots of that's that amazing youthful energy, and they're all having fun, and there's celebrations, and everything's, they're all out there happy, and it relates to children. So I think we're still going to have more children issues on the planet for this week, and that is a celebration on the card. So I thought to myself, well, other than the 4th of July for the American people listening, I can't think of any big celebrations that I'm aware of around the globe. So I'm not sure if the 4th of July will have something specific that occurs around about that time. We'll have to wait and see. I have often said that these cards, the Sun, and the last one that came out on the bottom of the deck, which was the Now card, and they are pretty much, to me, have the same message. They both have the harvest on them, then they both have the solar related activity. So I got 2 cards in the one reading suggesting that that was fairly strong. So I'm still saying, is that southern hemisphere related? Could we see something that many people tie into the sun's activity, and a lot of people tie in big cyclonic storms like cyclones, typhoons. They say that can be related to the solar flares or the CMEs that come down that emit the protons around us that change our magnetosphere, which create all sorts of interesting turmoil for us. Last week we saw aurora off the southern end of New Zealand. It was pictured. Now we don't get that very often down here in the southern hemisphere, so we've had some massive solar energy bounced down onto the earth, and it affects not just your radio waves and your radio frequencies as such, it affects us as well, because by very nature of life we are magnetic or electrical beings ourselves. So increased solar activity does affect human beings as much as people have tried to ignore it. This is the new science coming through, and we're learning more and more about it all the time. It's just that at the top, some of the top people are still prepared to deny these things exist. One day they'll wake up. So we've got kind of, yeah, the solar energy thing happening there, the southern hemisphere. I'm thinking this week we're not going to have quite so many, or for this reading, not quite so many sea-related quakes, possibly a few more land-related quakes. Just a final quick little tie in there. This is going on a little bit too long, I realise. The numbers added up to 6 with those cards, without the 4 card, without the now card, and they added up to the number 6. The 6th week can generally be a week of exhaustion, almost like you've climbed a hill and you get there and you go, oh, thank God, I just want to sit here still for a few minutes and gather my breath. It's just a week of tiredness, I think you could say. But when I added the 4, we got to the number 10, and 10 is endings, so we come back to endings again, which we think we're facing with the planet hugely anyhow. And just to check that, I pulled a couple of cards out of the Rider-Waite deck, and of all things, the first card that came out was this chap. This is the Judgment card, and that to me looks a little bit like the tribulation that the people, some religious perspectives, are expecting. Those bodies there, humans down here on the bottom, decloaked and declothed, looking up to the heavens and being called up. I don't know quite what that means, but that kind of matched the death card to me. And then interestingly enough,